Hi, I'm Matt with Xerox. I'm going to take you through the ins and outs of the Xerox Versalink. I've got two behind me. One is a walk-up model, the other one's a desktop. They're going to have the same screens, but they're going to have slightly different body types. So we're going to go through a quick device overview, how to change toner, how to remove jams, and prevent them. And then we'll go through the functions. Those screens will be the same, like I said, copy, scan, fax, and then print. So let's get to it. When you insert the paper in the document feeder, the originals are going to go face up or face down on the glass. Moving down to the paper trays, you're going to have 4 paper trays up front. Your top 2 trays can hold up to 11 by 17. If you want to change the paper size in there, just pinch the green together. I'll show you this way. Move it out till it clicks. Insert the paper, make sure the guides are flush. You also have larger trays down near the bottom that are only going to hold a whole bunch of 8.5 by 11 sheets. And then you've also got your bypass tray on the left-hand side, manual feed for labels, letterheads, so on and so forth. The desktop model is going to have a certain number of trays. This might be what you have, you might have more or less. But the key thing is these hold 8.5 by 11. If you have a jam or anything like that, these trays actually come right out. It's really easy. It's no big deal. What this also lets you do is put legal size paper in there. To do that, there is a little latch right here that you can press and move it out. All right, little accordion guy. The key thing, again, if you can see it, is all you gotta do is just press this green guy and then move it in and out if you want to change the size. Key thing is just to put it back in, just like a kitchen drawer. Just be a little careful. Slide it in and you're good to go. So you've got one of 2 trays that you can choose from here, and you've also got the manual feed where when you insert paper you can choose labels, letterhead, envelopes, so on and so forth. There's a few consumables to change on the larger Versalink. First is your toner. You just open the front door. Your toner is going to be right inside. Really easy, just slide it out. Go ahead and dispose of that. Grab the new full toner. Slide it in, close the door, and you are all set. On the right hand side, you're going to see the finisher. There are staples in here. You can reach your hand deep inside. Once they're empty, it'll actually slide out for you, so it's no big deal. The key thing is that you have this white sled with the staple cartridge that holds 5,000 staples. These cartridges are easy to remove. Just pull it out, grab the new one that's full, stick it into that white sled. Slide it in until it clicks. It will push itself back once it's through. So you just have to close that door. On the smaller desktop unit, you're going to have a front door for getting the toner changed. Just go ahead and open it up. You're going to see the toner in there. All you have to do is just press on the color section so that you can remove it, and then just dispose of these. Put the new one in till it clicks. Obviously replace whichever ones it tells you to, and then close it up. If a jam occurs, it'll tell you on the screen where to go, so I would just refer to that. But since I'm here, let's talk about it. On the left-hand side of the machine is typically where we're going to see those jams. That's where the heat source is. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to open the door. Green means go. You want to be a little careful because it's going to be warm near the fuser. That's what heats up the paper and the toner so it sticks. But basically just you're going to want to pull out the paper pretty gently, close it up before you close the actual door. Reference the screen, it'll tell you if you need to go anywhere else. But if you do, just open that next door that it tells you to, take the paper out, and then close it up again. For the desktop model, there's jam clearance on the back of the device. Once you reference the screen, if it tells you to go back there, go ahead and swing it around. There's a little handle on the top. You can push that down, and then you'll be able to access the jam. All you got to do is basically just pull the paper out gently from the source, go ahead and close it up, and then you're good to go. The best way to prevent jams is to simply fan the paper before loading it. All that means is just flip through it, let that air into it. When it gets really staticky in the colder months or humid in the hotter months, that paper will stick together, so that fan, as simple as it may seem, is gonna help quite a bit. The other thing that you'd want to do too is if you're using special paper like labels, letterhead, cardstock, so on and so forth, when you load that paper in the tray, it's going to automatically ask you the size and the type and the color. So you're going to want to confirm exactly what it is so that it treats it correctly. It heats up properly, pushes it through at the right speed so that it minimizes the propensity for getting stuck. So let's talk about this touchscreen. You're going to notice there's a power button. With this example, it's on the top right, as well as the home button, which is on the right-hand side here. That button, when you press home, it's going to get you to the main home menu that shows your functions. For this, we have copy, email, as well as fax. Let's jump into copy. Pretty simplified menu. You're going to notice that the start button is at the top right. Notice too that whenever you scroll down, that start button is going to remain there at that top right. If you want to swipe all the way down, there's a reset button that you can press. That'll reset everything back to its normal default settings. Note too that if you don't press any buttons for about a minute, it's going to automatically reset that back anyway. But to go through copying, just load your originals face up in the feeder or face down on the glass. Select your number of copies up top. If you mess up, you can press that X and start over. And then you've just got your main items here. Just press your settings, such as two-sided. Anywhere within that bar will open up this little sub-menu here. Note for two-sided copying, the number on the left is the number of sides on the originals. The number on the right is the number of sides on the copies. You've also got your paper supply, collation options. If you have a stapler on your device, if you have a finisher, you'll have your staple menu that you can open up and choose, as well as your reduce and large. You can either press the plus or minuses, or if you're in a rush, no big deal. Go ahead and just type it in on the right-hand side. I want to share a tip about copying small or odd-sized originals. If you load that original and it doesn't understand the size, it's going to try to guess, or it doesn't know what to do, and it's just going to yell at you. So a nice, easy thing to do is just to simply choose a specific setting to tell it what its original size is. So if you look down near the bottom, there's this original size menu, and all you have to do is choose custom presets and then just choose 8.5 by 11. Then whatever you put down there, it's going to scan an area of 8.5 by 11. Now, one quick word of advice though is, again, you're probably not going to have time for that, right? You don't want to have to navigate through the menus. So an easy way to scan, or I should say copy small documents quickly, is by setting the original size to 8.5 by 11. You can save that as a one-touch button that's going to go on the home screen. Let me show you. So when you scroll down after saving that original size, you're going to see it say save on the bottom left. Go ahead and press that, and then press save as one-touch app. So I'm going to go through this real quick. I'm just going to call this quick copy. And then when I press next, I can customize a certain number of features of this button, what picture it has, so on and so forth. But one important thing too is I can make it start immediately. And what I mean by that, and I'll show you this, is it's going to now appear on the home screen. So what I can do is the second I press that quick copy button, what's going to happen is that's my start button. So it's going to say, all right, you chose 8.5 by 11 paper. It's going to copy that paper, and then we're all set. So what that does is that just gives you a nice quick way to copy small originals, or even, to be honest with you, normal originals, right? If you just want to just close your eyes and press one button to make a copy, that's what you can customize. You can create a whole bunch of customizations like that, these one-touch buttons, whether you're copying, scanning, or faxing. So let's talk about scan to email. From the home screen, when you press the yellow email button, it's going to bring up a menu where you can type in a recipient's email address via this keyboard that pops up. Notice that the @ symbol is on the bottom left. One important thing to know though is that if you have already configured an address book with everybody's names in there, you can either access it by pressing the button on the top right, or if you're a busy person like myself, you can just start typing, and as long as your name's in there, it'll pop up, right? So then just press your name, and then you're good to go. When you're ready, just press send on the top right, and then those originals are going to be scanned as a PDF to your email address. So if you want to change that format, you have your PDF button on the right here, where you can change to several different formats, make it searchable, combine your files, password protect, so on and so forth. You notice to the left here, you can also name the subject. or the actual attachment if you'd like. And then you've got other options as you go south. So you can preview the scan. You can choose color, black and white for your scan. One thing to notice too is that scanning in color is at no charge. So feel free to take advantage of that all you want. You've got your two-sided scanning menu that you can select, as well as other options as you go down. If you'd like to add a name to the email address book, there's a few ways to do it. I'll show you both. First way is through the address book button that you see here on the home screen. When you press that, you'll notice the white plus sign at the top right. Press that and then add contact. And then it's going to give you the opportunity to type in some fields here. You don't have to necessarily type in info into all of them. Obviously, name's probably pretty important, right? So type in the first name, maybe last name, and then certainly the email address. Or like I said before, the fax number if you'd like. Once you're done with that, just press OK, and then it'll be added to the address book. The other way to do it is through its web interface, the devices that is. To get to that device's interface, you want to access it via its IP address. So really simple to do. To find its IP, just go to Device on the home screen, then About, and then we're going to scroll down to the IP address right there, down near the bottom there. So that's not going to be your IP address. That's mine in my office here. But once you type that into the address field of a web browser, you'll get to a menu or a website that looks quite like this. You'll notice on the left-hand side, you've got the address book button there. And when we go into that, you're going to know we've got our names in there. Go ahead and press Add Contact. And then just like before, just type in the name. You'll notice the plus buttons next to email or fax. You can just click those to be able to add those fields, and then you're good to go. To send a fax from the home screen, you're going to press that green fax button. It then gives you a field to type in that fax number. One thing to note too is that if you have to dial a prefix like 9 or 1 or 8 or anything like that, it's not based on what the device needs, it's based on the phone line. So if you know that the fax line needs to dial that, you're going to want to dial that first. But basically dial the number, press enter, and then send on that top right, and then you're good to go. If you'd like, you can certainly preview it or open the menu to make it a two-sided scan or fax. But either way, just find the number, press send, and then off it goes. When it comes to printing, the print drivers for each Xerox device will be added automatically to your computers. Notice the naming convention is going to be the business unit, floor, department, and color or black and white. You just want to click Printer Properties to access the other settings that you have at your disposal. And then let's just go through these relatively quickly here. You've got a pretty robust menu here of all the things you can do. We're going to stick with this main tab. In the job type menu up top, you can print normally where it just shoots out, or you can select other options. A nice one is the secure print feature if you want to send jobs and have them release at a later time with a code. When you click that secure print, you can type in whatever code you want. And then when you go into jobs at the device itself, 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 days later, whatever, you can release that with that code. You've also got your paper menu. One important thing to notice, I know we were talking about this before, where if you have special paper like labels or letterhead or cardstock, if you confirm the paper that's in the tray first, it will automatically show up in the list of papers right there. So if you load labels, call the label. When you saunter back to your desk, it's going to tell you, yep, that tray has labels. If you don't want to load that paper first, if you want to just send the job and say, you know what, I want to go to cardstock, what you can do is you can go to the other type menu in the paper menu, tell it to go to cardstock, and then click OK to print. That job will send to the device, but it'll wait for you because that cardstock hasn't been loaded yet. Other jobs can print around that job, which is extremely important. You're not holding anybody else up. When you are ready, all you have to do is load the paper in the bypass tray typically, call it cardstock because that's what you called it at your computer. Those settings will match up. It'll say, hey, great, they finally loaded that cardstock, and then it'll print for you. So it's a really easy way to send the job, not have to go back and forth running, right? Nobody print, nobody print. You can just send it first and then walk over nonchalantly when you're ready and print that special paper. Other things you can do are change one-sided, two-sided, so on and so forth. Finishing is where you can go to staple. You can also change your settings from black and white to color. Notice these little icons to the left. You can also click those to make your changes. And you can change your print quality when you're printing. We hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions or needs, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to help. Thanks for your time.